Hey guys, Rubber Tramp Renegade. I'm sitting here in the van today, and I've been having a little bit of problem out of my van. Basically, it just wanted to sputter going up a hill. It, I don't know what it was doing. At first, I thought it was a fuel problem. Maybe it had some trash in my tank, so I changed the fuel pump, changed the fuel filter. That didn't seem to do anything. So I thought, well, maybe it could be a spark problem. So I took the doghouse off and got to the engine there, and I changed the spark plug wires and I changed the coil, just because they're not that expensive and they're relatively easy to do. I did find two of the spark plug wires were split open. They were sitting on top of the valve cover, and I guess they got too hot and they did split open, but they weren't split all the way through, and that really didn't do anything either. So I did a little bit of research and found out it could be a vacuum leak. So I opened the dash part and got to some vacuum lines that I knew were there. Earlier when I bought the van, the heat and air didn't work correctly. So basically, let me show you this right here. When you would put it on max, for instance, it's supposed to blow out the dash, and it wouldn't blow out the dash or stay blowing out of the dash. It would switch to the defroster, and when I would hit the brakes, it would come back out the dash. So that kind of told me there's some kind of vacuum leak, because the brakes are controlled by vacuum also. So I knew it was still in vacuum somewhere, just didn't know where. So there's a piece in here that's basically like a valve, a vacuum valve. When you switch that lever, it selects which hose gets the vacuum, I guess. So that was busted apart, and let me show you. I clamped it together, and that fixed most of it. Right here, if you can see, this part here actually has all these vacuum hoses on it. It was busted apart, so I've got this clamp here holding it, and another clamp here, and then it was cracked back here. If I can get it out and show you. So I basically put a lot of silicone in there just to kind of see what it would do. That did fix a lot of it, but I could still hear that hissing noise, and I tracked it down to where it was coming from. And let me show you the new one. I was able to find this on PartsGeek.com, and here it is. So basically, here's all these little pipes here where the vacuum lines go to. This one right here on the old one in there is broken, so this little plastic piece is still inside the hose, but you can see it's disconnected. You can see it wiggle right there. So basically, I'm gonna take all that off, put the new vacuum valve on there, climate control. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it was $30 on Parts Geek, and I'm willing to pay that if that's what's gonna fix my van. So I'm gonna change that and see if it does it. So stick with me. This right here is the one that was on it, and you can see, I'll put them side by side. There's this one here, and then there's supposed to be one here, right here. It's broken off. It's still stuck in the vacuum line. So I'm hoping this vacuum leak that was around this little pipe here is what I hope that's what's going to fix it. So let me try to get this thing back together. It looks like I have to take this apart to actually hook the levers in to this part where it slides. So I'm going to try to do that. Alright guys, so let me show you. I've got this put together. I've got the other one just kind of bolted on there, and I don't know if it's going to work because it's not completely the same. There is a little bit of difference to it, so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work out. When you look in here, this old one, it's got this little piece here, this little thing goes up and down when you slide this lever here. And while the new one has a hole for that, there's not actually that piece in there. It pulls this cable here when you slide this, but I don't know if the cable is all it needs to do that. There's probably some reason why this old one has that little knob there. The new one doesn't have it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it up and see what it does. If it doesn't work, I'll have to try to track down a new one. And if you look here, there's all these little plastic tubes, and here's the little cluster that goes on it. You can actually see in there, that's the plastic from the tube. I've got to get that out of there. It's actually the tube that was right here that's broken off. So I'm going to try to get that apart and get that little plastic tube out of that vacuum hose without damaging it, and then put this together and see if it works correctly, since that is a little bit different. Alright, well, I've got it completely together now, so I'm going to go ahead and start the engine and see if it works. Alright. Oh, that feels better. It actually clicks into place when you put it on the selection. The other one, you had to kind of guess if you were on the right setting or not. That works. Right now I got the air on. The air seems to be working. Switch that. Yeah, I've got heat, so I'm not sure what that other thing was on the inside of that old part. Let me turn this off. I don't know what the other lever was in the old part. It obviously does something, I'm not sure what, but everything seems to be working correctly, so I'm happy. Now I just got to drive it down the road and see what it does, but I can already tell I don't hear that vacuum hissing like I used to with the other one. It was a pretty apparent hiss sound. I don't hear it now, so that fixed the vacuum leak for sure. So hopefully it works out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright guys, well, I know I just said that I thought it was fixed, but I went down the road with it. It ran better. There was one time though, going up a real steep hill, that it sputtered on me. It didn't do it near like it used to, but it did sputter. So came back to the house. When I shut it off, I could still hear a hissing sound, and it sounded to be coming from right where I said it was missing that part. The new part was missing a little piece in there. So I actually ended up taking it back off, taking the new part completely apart. Actually, I took the old one completely apart first to see how it was built inside, and I did take the new one apart and discovered it didn't come with the same guts as the old one. So what I did was I took the part of the guts from the old one that were not in the new one, and I put them in the new one. And let me show you kind of what I'm talking about, if I can explain it. This is the old valve right here, and you see this metal frame, this metal plate. I ended up taking it off. Now behind this plate you've got this right here, and when you slide the dial on the dash, this thing moves, and it moves this up and down. But when it moves this up and down, it's got these little bitty holes in here that go to these vacuum lines on the back. So this was in the new one, but you see this little spot here, there's another little plastic thing similar that goes right here. It wasn't in the new one. So I took all of this apart. I put the new guts, or the old guts, in the new part, and then after I did that, after I put the guts in the old part, or in the new part, I put it all back together, started it up, and there was absolutely no hissing at all. I originally said that the hissing was gone, and for 99% of it was gone, but it was just hissing, just a little bit. You couldn't notice it, but when you shut the vehicle off, you can hear it hissing and bleeding out slowly. now that it's like it is now, and everything's put back together, there's not a hiss at all. You shut it off, it doesn't hiss, you can't hear it bleeding out like it used to. And I took it down the road, and it has not ran this good since I've had the van. So I'm hoping that that was all it needed. So I'll let you know later on if it doesn't fix it, but I think I fixed it. So thanks for watching. Hope that helped. I know you may or may not have that problem down the road, but if you have anything not running right, check the vacuum.